And welcome back. This is just another Coffee with Laura, all for you. And today, I think you're going to enjoy this topic because we definitely don't enjoy feeling this, but we all get it. And it's stress. But I want to go even a step further than stress. So, if you remember, a few weeks ago, I talked about the I'm fat mindset, how even if you do all the work to lose the weight and you do lose it, you can still feel stuck in that space of I'm fat. And there's actually interesting research that's been done on people who had plastic surgery done to them and then they didn't see the difference after, even though the physicality, like the pictures showed it, it didn't agree with their mental map because it's a mindset. And the same is true about stress. Where do we learn stress? Well, where we learn most things through the people we surround ourselves with, what our parents displayed when we were growing up, and culture. And unfortunately, two things have happened. One, as we're growing up, we seek approval from our parents. That's how we receive love. That's how we know that we're doing good. And then we are never really taught like to observe that from our own space. So then we just keep trying to, you know, predict what other people would want. And then we have culture on the other side who is pushing busyness and achievement as a status symbol. And it's literally created the hashtag burnout because we're pushing past our capacity, completely unaware of our capacity. But this is because it's been ingrained in us. It's a mindset. It's a space where we live, where we practice these different thoughts, these different feelings, these different habits, trying to keep ourselves busy. To the point, my favorite is when people like race their to-do list. And I say this as my favorite because I totally used to do this. I remember when I started my business, I had a 3-page, like back-to-back to-do list. And it was good. I didn't want to keep it in my brain, so I would put it on paper so I didn't forget. And every day I'd look at it and be like, and it would grow and grow and grow because there's always more you can do. But our desire is to get it done, get it all done today, or to get ahead. Ahead of what? The reality is, whether it's work or your to-do list, we get this desire to be ahead because we're trying to buy ourselves more time. But what we don't realize is if we're given more time, we just busy ourselves with other things because there's always more stuff to do. And it creates this cycle of where we're always living in a space of urgency and not enough, of scarcity. It's such a source of our stress. And seeing that this is a mindset, it's directly linked to our shame and our self-esteem. If we hold a lot of shame, which if you do, I strongly encourage you to find a safe space for you to communicate that because shame grows in secrecy. But we all have it. It's just a matter of when you feel brave enough to share it with someone that you trust. And when you see that they don't have the most negative reaction in the world, okay, maybe you're not as bad as you thought because everyone does dumb stuff. Everyone makes mistakes. But it directly affects how we view ourselves and our narrative around ourselves, our self-esteem, which creates 4 typically different responses. The first one is when we try to prove ourselves. We work our butt off, we exceed expectations, we create expectations beyond realistic humanity expectations, and then we're surprised and we're burnt out and completely stressed and pull all-nighters because what? We're trying to prove something? But like, what are we trying to prove and to whom? Because your boss or your project leader, whoever it is just another human who's probably doing something similar anyways and definitely isn't going to give you the attaboy or the attagirl that you're looking for because they're not even completely aware that you just drained your entire energy tank trying to make this extraordinary because you want the you did good moment. Another one, which works directly with proving, is perfecting. If everything's perfect, if this project is perfect, if my day is perfect, if the plan is perfect, if it's perfect, 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 then what? What do we expect to happen? Things will then go well. Does it really have to be perfect for things to go well? You know, My wedding day was a beautiful day. I was on a beach. I loved my day. And in the middle of the ceremony, it got so freaking windy that my maid of honor and our best man had to like pull and push the huppah accordingly to keep it from blowing over. My dress was blowing between my legs, and my best guy friend who was officiating for us, he couldn't turn the page to read what was next, and he was getting so red. And you would think like, oh God, it's her wedding day, like the one day that's supposed to be perfect. And it was perfect with the wind. I laughed my butt off. And there are so many pictures of myself, my husband, our best man, our maid of honor, and our officiate just laughing, looking at each other because those were the circumstances. I could have cried, sure, but I was marrying my best friend. Who cares if it was actually perfect? And that's the whole thing. Perfect is in the eye of the subjective upholder. What's perfect for you, if you work tirelessly to make a project perfect and to prove to your boss how great you are, and they don't think it's perfect, what do? I just didn't work hard enough. It's my fault. No, you're just too busy trying to protect yourself, trying to protect this identity, but we're not that fragile. The next one, we perform. Ugh, I hate this one. This one is like, I always laugh when I hear people, like my husband does this, where you hear their phone voice and then they get off the phone and you hear their regular voice. My husband works for an insurance company and he is incredibly patient, probably because he's partially married to me. And I accept that, but that's okay. And I listen to him guide these people through accidents, and people don't necessarily speak very kindly to him. And he is super duper patient and so calm. And then he gets off the phone and he'll, have his moment of frustration because he's human too. But I love that. And to me, that is performing. Hi, how are you? May I help you? It's so inauthentic that it drives me up a wall. Now, I get it. There's nothing wrong with, being a little friendlier per se, but this is when it becomes a problem when we don't feel safe to be who we actually are in places that we visit every single day. So home and work are obviously the big two. But if you feel like you have to perform as this alternative person, you don't actually know who you are and you're not safe within who you are. Your self-esteem, your image, the narrative you hold around yourself is threatened, and it leads to actions that create stress, and it will because it's all happening subconsciously. And then there's the one that I did and slip into every now and then way too often. Pleasing. And it works with all of them very, very commonly, where we try to please others. We predict what they're going to want, and we try to give them what they want instead of thinking what we actually think would be best. You can see it in relationships. You can see it at work. You can see it at home. You can see it by yourself. When I first stopped people pleasing, I couldn't even figure out where I wanted to go for breakfast. That's how little I could decide on my own, because I didn't care enough, so I would go where they wanted. But what did I actually want? I didn't know. Performing, pleasing, proving, and perfecting. These 4 habits are rooted deep in our brain, deep in our heart, and act out subconsciously, causing us to take actions, and they're the roots of our stress mindset. All because stress is almost worn as like a badge of honor now, but it's our attempt to protect ourselves. But what are we protecting ourselves from? We're not really getting attacked by lions and bears anymore. So from someone disagreeing with you, from making a mistake, I'm not trying to minimize it by any means, but name anyone who gets through life without making a mistake or without hurting someone's feelings or doing something wrong. There's no one. It's part of being human. So here we are trying to protect ourselves from an inevitable piece of being human. No wonder we're losing. My suggestion, be brave. Learn who you are. And take time to reflect or work with a therapist or a coach. Hi. to learn about your patterns and your habits, because I can tell you the same stress tools that anyone else would tell you. Do breathing exercises, meditate, mindful minutes, all those things. And they're band-aids. But you're going to keep doing the same stuff over and over until you do the hard work and change how you feel about you. And as someone who did the hard work, I can definitely testify that it is totally worth it. But the other thing that I will say, and let me just preference, like, this is just my opinion. You should talk to your doctor, do your own research. But one supplement that I've taken that has helped me manage my stress is ashwagandha, ashwag for spelling. And it's a natural supplement that literally balances out your cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And even my husband takes it. And what we both would say after taking it is we still notice stress, but the pressure of it isn't the same. So if you're looking for something to support you while being the key, you do the deeper work, it's definitely very supportive. But if you're tired of being burnt out, pushing past your capacity, stressing all the time, if you're ready to actually change, then I would encourage you to reach out and book a free call. And I'm happy to just give you the free call and tell you the things I hear and let you go to work on it. But band-aids are going to come off at some point. Got to treat the heart of the issue. It's a mindset. It's the thoughts, feelings, habits, and patterns that you repeat. Start paying attention there. But that is all I have for you this week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and supporting me so I can support you. If there are any topics or specific things you ever want to learn about, let me know. I love that stuff. Otherwise, I will see you next week.